guys, today I am going to discuss about the state object versus object object. So first I'll tell you the basic difference between state object and the object object, and then I'll create an sample application that will show you where we have to declare a variable with state object or a object object. So while creating a state object, what we have needed, right? So as per the definition, a state object is used to declare a property that conforms to the observable object protocol. Yes. So in the both cases, if we want to declare a state object or the object object, we have to adopt a protocol called observable object, and we have to declare a variable whatever we want to check, or we want to notify the trigger. So that variable should be declare with the published. Now I'll go with the example. So I'll go with the application that I have already created. Now I'll go with the counter view application. So this is a basically a counter view application. Let me run that application. Once I'll run this application here in this simulator, you can see there is a show detail screen. So that is nothing but that is a counter view. So if I click on this show detail, it will push into the another view, and that will be a state object view, and there I am declaring a variable called object object, right? So for initial case, I am going to change this object object with the state object. So I have changed this with the state object. Right now let's see what is written in the view model. Now if I go into the view model, so here, as I have already said, right, that is the observable protocol that is adopting the observable protocol, and there is a variable called count, and that is I am publishing. So I want to basically uh, observe the changes of this counter variable, right? So that is I am publishing. Now here this is getter method, you can say, for getting the count of that variable. Now I'll go back here. Now if I click on show detail, right, so it will push to another view here. Now if I increase the count, it's increasing by 1, and if I decrease the count, it's decreasing by 1, right? So it's working as expected, because what we did, we have created a state object, and simply we are checking here the get count, and by creating increase here and decrease, right? So if I click on increase, it's increasing by 1 and is decreasing by 1, right? Now what will happen if I'll change this state object to object object? Let's see. So I have changed this state object to object object. Now I'm just refreshing the application. Just go here and try to run it again. Now let's see what has happened. It's running again. Now I'm going to push to it again. Now if I click on increase again and again, and decrease 1 by 1, right, and again increase, again decrease, so it's working as expected in both the cases if I am declaring that particular variable with the object object or the state object. So if we see, there is no difference by the functional or functionality wise, right? But if we see behind the scene what is happening, if I'm taking object object here or the state object, so let me see, or let me see the console here, what is happening here. So if I enable this console here, you can see here I have enabled that. Now let's go back to the initial case. So here I'm just creating a state object. Now again refreshing that, the application, it's scaled and refreshed. Now we have to see the console here, what is happening. So we are seeing the console in the case of state object, right? Now if I click on show details, so this init is called, it means this particular object is allocated, means memory is allocated to that particular view model, right? Now if I click on click on increase, so it's increasing, that is fine. Decrease, decreasing. Now if I go back here, right, so I go back here. Now if I'll push again this, right, so if I push deinit is called, means that particular earlier object is got released, right. Now if I increase, right, if I push again, again deinit is called, and that particular, or you can say the previous state object is got released. So along with that view, once the view is released, that particular object is also released, right. Now see what will happen in the case of object, right. Now let me run it, the application again. Let's see what is happening here. So I'm running that application. As we already know, the init is called, right. Now if I increase, that will work as expected. There will be no change as part of functionality, right. Okay, now if I go back, right, see, if you see, there is no d init is called, see. So that many time I'm pushing to this so detail, that much of instances of that object is created. If you see, there is no deinit is get called, so there will be a memory leak for that case. So whenever we want to utilize this object, it should be the child object of this particular, you can see here, state object, right. So it should not be the direct parent of, or it should not be direct allocated, or you can say directly, it should not be directly created an instance of any observable object or object, right. So that is the basic difference you can see here, right. If you like the video, please thumbs up and subscribe my channel. Thank you.